Today we're going to talk about Tucker Carlson's secret text being exposed and what he's doing to pander to Trump as a result. And I interview Media Matters CEO Angelo Caruso about the company's complaint against Fox with the FEC and a campaign to prevent Fox from being able to charge sky-high carriage fees that fund their network. I'm Brian Tyler Cohen, and you're watching No Lie. So this past week, you heard the major news that thanks to the Dominion lawsuit, Tucker Carlson sent some pretty revealing text messages about Trump in the aftermath of the whole stolen election saga. He said, quote, "We are very, very close to being able to ignore Trump most nights. I truly can't wait. I hate him passionately. I can't handle much more of this." And so those texts were revealed, which was damning for both Tucker and Trump unto itself. But it's what happened next that I think is pretty telling, because now, coinciding with the release of those texts, suddenly Tucker's been going all in on this effort to rewrite the history of January 6th in what is, like, the most transparent and unconvincing way possible. So Tucker's claim here is that January 6th wasn't an insurrection. Here's a quick clip.
But the tape that we reviewed from within the building on that day proves it was neither an insurrection nor deadly.
And so his position is that it wasn't an insurrection because what the January 6th committee didn't show you was all of the instances where the insurrectionists weren't destroying the Capitol. And I feel like I'm living on a different planet. Showing video of when someone isn't trying to hang the vice president doesn't invalidate the video where someone is trying to hang the vice president. They don't cancel each other out. Like, if you killed your family, and sorry to be morbid, but bear with me on this one. If you killed your family and it was caught on video and then you went to trial and you were like, "Your Honor, here's video of me with my family from a vacation where I'm not killing them," what do you think the judge would say? Okay, you're right, case dismissed? Like, you showing evidence of you not committing a crime doesn't negate the evidence of you committing the crime, which is obvious, right? This is embarrassingly unconvincing by Tucker, which begs the question, why would Tucker do this? What's the point of an exercise that is so laughably weak? And there are two things that I can think of. First, because the right traffics in overt disinformation and normalizing political violence and creating manufactured outrage. And so what does Tucker have to lose by trafficking in it some more? Like, it's insane, so everyone will talk about it, and in the attention economy, that's worth a lot. Also, beyond that, there are people who think that he's telling the truth. Like, was January 6th a normal tourist visit? Not a chance. Are there people who want to believe that it was? Of course. Does Tucker's show give them a permission structure to be able to believe it? Absolutely. But the second thing is that he was caught talking shit on Trump. And he said himself, based on the Dominion filing, quote, "What he's good at is destroying things. He's the undisputed world champion of that. He could easily destroy us if we play it wrong." And so this is Tucker's penance. This is Tucker cowering at the feet of a guy who he himself admitted has the power to destroy him. And so he's promoting the very narrative that Trump's hinged his entire identity on, which is that the election was stolen and that January 6th was warranted because it was a righteous effort to rectify a massive fraud on the American people. And of course, that's all bullshit. Tucker knows it's bullshit. Trump knows it's bullshit. But that's the story that Trump is selling. And so because Tucker got caught, now he is helping Trump sell his story. And I'll tell you what, I don't think that you'll ever see Trump lash out at Tucker because Trump knows that he's got power over Tucker now, and he also knows that Tucker's being a good little foot soldier for him, and so as long as he does his bidding, Trump's got no reason to destroy him, even though he can. Trump's got leverage now, and he is perfectly content to use it. And just taking a step back here, it's amazing how all of these power dynamics revolve around these politicians and media personalities, all the while the losers in all of this are their viewers and supporters. All of these people, from Tucker to Trump and everybody in between, are all just making devil's bargains left and right to protect themselves. But the people who get fucked in all of this are the suckers who trust them, who believe that they're being told the truth. When in reality, the power brokers here, the gatekeepers, are just a bunch of millionaires and billionaires looking out for themselves and their own interests. With the irony being that their marks, their victims, will never know any better because the only people that they trust enough are the ones that are doing the lying in the first place. That's the tragic part in all of this. So just like Tucker promoted the January 6th truther stuff to protect his ratings and his profits, he's now doubling down to protect himself from Donald Trump. At no point does what Tucker do serve anyone but Tucker. And yet, that's how the right-wing media ecosystem works, with the biggest losers in all of this being the people conned into trusting that network in the first place. And so with that said, here's a preview of my interview with Media Matters president Angelo Caruso. Now, Media Matters has filed a complaint against Fox with the FEC. So first, can you explain what happened here and also what you hope to accomplish with the FEC?
Sure. I mean, basically what happened is, according to the filings and Rupert Murdoch's own acknowledgments, during deposition, his own sort of validation, he said he did this thing. Basically, in the 2020 election, right before Election Day, so October 2020, the Biden campaign bought a series of advertisements, of which some of them were on Fox, which meant that Fox had confidential advertising information. So the nature of the ads, maybe where they were being purchased, when they were being deployed. So it's about essentially ad strategy. And what Rupert Murdoch said he did is that he says that he took the advertisements and he shared it with Jared Kushner, who was not only Trump's son-in-law, but he was also a senior advisor to the Trump campaign. And we filed an FEC complaint because that's illegal. And it's pretty clear. It's not even up for debate. So the law is really obvious here. It says that corporations can't give contributions to these campaigns. So that's the first thing. But it says that contributions are not just money, that a material thing of value also counts as a contribution. And then the third thing is they've determined over the years that information about advertising and advertising strategy is considered a thing of value. So our FEC complaint lays out what Rupert Murdoch says he did, lays out what the FEC sort of law is, and it says that what the FEC needs to do is do their investigation and apply the maximum penalty that's allowable. And what do we hope to accomplish? Well, the incredible thing about this is that unless someone actually nudges the FCC for these types of actions, they don't really do it proactively. So we were getting the ball rolling. And I think what we're trying to accomplish is, one, another small sliver of accountability. But big picture, the way I sort of see what's come out of the Dominion filings and all these Dominion revelations is that it doesn't just begin and end with the defamation about Dominion. I see this as sort of the beginning of a cascading series of consequences for Fox, for the Murdochs, and this is just another layer of that cascade.
What enforcement ability does the FEC have if Fox is found to have violated FEC law as the result of this complaint here? Like, what's the best case scenario for us in terms of what can happen to Fox?
So, I mean, big picture, it depends. What's incredible about this is that there's no clarity as to what the penalty could be, because what ends up happening is they do an investigation. We don't know how much information was shared. We know that Rupert Murdoch talked about sharing this advertisement, and the other piece of it is what was described as confidential debate information. And beyond that, what ends up happening is the FEC, they sort of unpacks this. They get a full scale of what was actually involved, how much information was shared, and then they do a second piece, which is to value it. So they say, how much, if you were to pay for this, would you spend? Would you spend millions? Would you spend a couple $1,000s? And then they essentially use that as their baseline to then assess the penalty. And they would do some multiplier depending on the value. What I would say is, if you don't need to be a political scientist or a media expert to know that a few weeks before an election, a now presidential election, having the inside scoop on what your opponent is going to run in their advertisements and when they're going to run them and how they're going to run them is awfully valuable. And so, the penalties could be significant. But I also think more important than that, and this is the part that I think really is worth keeping in mind here with all this Dominion stuff, is that everything here is so explosive. All the information we're hearing about the host, all this stuff, even with this illegal contribution thing, that's one sliver. This is only about, we only have a keyhole view into what Fox has been doing behind the scenes. We're only looking at what they did in relation to Dominion in the election. So what I would say is the FEC could, in theory, uncover so many other illegal contributions. And I think that's always been the case with Fox. The corruption is always much more deep once you start to peel back the layers.
To watch the full episode with Angelo, click the thumbnail right here on the screen or check out the interviews playlist on my YouTube channel. A reminder that I've also started a Spanish channel to reach Spanish-speaking audiences, so if you want to help get those videos going in the algorithm, please follow the link on the screen to subscribe to that channel and watch a few videos. And of course, to see more of my content in English, subscribe to this channel as well. The link is also right here on this screen.